This is the final video in my top 10 most powerful Naruto characters series. My first video is about the top 10 most powerful characters from part 1, based on what we knew in part 1. The second video is about the same topic, but based on what we knew up to the end of the pain arc. They're both interesting videos because it shows us what our perspective was when we were first watching the series. Remember when Orochimaru was the most powerful guy around instead of Kaguya? Anyway, this is a top 10 video for our perspective at the end of Naruto, but there's a catch. I won't be ranking the Otsutsuki, people with Sage of the Sixth Fast power, or anything that has to do with the Ten Tails. I don't like how powerful people got at the end of the series, but if you want to know my opinion on them, I have a video ranking them actually. In my ranking the Uchiha and Hokage together video, I rank these people starting at 1747. You can put Kaguya at number 1 above those people, and I'll try to remember to put a link to that video in the description. I suggest you go watch my first two top 10 videos first, and I'll put those links in the description as well. When I rank characters, it doesn't mean a character can beat everyone ranked below them. It'd be impossible to make a video like that since matchups are important. My rankings are more of an evaluation of everything they bring to a battlefield. Anyway, let's start off with number 10.
Atomic dismantling jutsu!
Starting at number 10, I have a three-way tie between Mu, Onoki, and Gengetsu. The reason why this is a tie is because we know that Mu and Gengetsu both killed each other, and Onoki seems to be about the same power as Mu. The difference between the Tsuchikages is that Mu can split his body in half to survive attacks, and can also become almost untraceable when he turns invisible. Onoki has the ability to manipulate weight and use more Earth-style jutsus, which is roughly equally as valuable as Mu's unique jutsus. We've seen more from Onoki, such as when he hard-carried the other four Kage against Madara. He made Madara's meteor light enough for Gaara to catch, and even had the durability to survive the second-hand impact from a second meteor. Gaara also may have not been doing the heavy lifting in stopping that meteor either. When Onoki went to Turtle Island to protect the tailed beast, he ended up picking up the entire island with one hand. This turtle was exponentially larger than the Eight Tails, and just off the top of my head, this turtle could probably rival the 10 Tails of mass if you excluded the tails. He can also make things heavier, including people. He made Mu's clone so heavy that Mu was immobilized, and all it took was Onoki getting a good grip on him. He also has his particle style, which can really only be stopped by the Preta Path and possibly Amaterasu. He can use it several times during a fight too, and it was so large it vaporized all 25 of Madara's full-body Susanos. It is about half the size of Madara's perfect Susanoo as well. He also would react to the Raikage's speed by manipulating his weight to make him faster or stronger, so that shows how good his reactions are. Mu didn't get the chance to show off as much as Onoki, but based on the little we've seen, they seem to be close enough to declare a tie. Gengetsu killed Mu at the cost of his life, so that's why he's also here. His clam genjutsu was strong enough to hypnotize many allied shinobis, including people like Gaara and Onoki. His clam summon was only found through Gaara moving sand throughout the entire area. Not many shinobi could break this genjutsu or even resist it fully. Even beyond that, he has a steam imp, which when small was so fast that Gaara and Onoki had no solution for it, and as it moves it expands until it explodes hard enough that it threatened all the allied shinobi nearby. There's not as much to say about Gengetsu, but he's still powerful considering he did tie with Mu. He definitely deserves to be in this spot. As for Onoki and Mu, they can almost no-diff-tailed beasts, and they also have good utility in their set of abilities. I've debated over 9 and 10 a lot, so I can honestly say it's close. I give 9 a very slight edge though.
Lord Orochimaru was not able to become the perfect sage. Not like the one I have now become.
Next to number 9, I have Sage Mode Kabuto. This is a character that is just plain overlooked since he's so unlikable. I first need to say that I'm not considering Edo Tensei here, but if I was, he'd be farther up on the list. His fight against Sasuke and Itachi is weird since no one was going for the kill, but he still showed what he was capable of. He was resistant to both Sasuke and Itachi's genjutsu. More importantly, his Sage Mode was so potent that he could dodge Sasuke's Susanoo arrow. This is something Danzo simply could not do despite being a Kage. There's also never a moment in that fight where Itachi or Sasuke had a speed advantage on him, unless they were working together. In fact, Kabuto's inorganic animation was so fast that EMS Sasuke couldn't react to it in time. This version of EMS Sasuke isn't as strong as later in the war, but even MS Sasuke could react to A at his fastest speed by using flame control as a defense. So really this means that Kabuto's inorganic animation is even faster than the Rikage's top attack speed. It's unclear how much of the terrain he can manipulate though. He arguably has a better ability. His wide extreme attack works like a flashbang and was powerful enough to make Sasuke drop his Susanoo. Again, at this point EMS Sasuke hadn't fully developed and was more like MS Sasuke, but this is still very impressive. Itachi could resist it using Susanoo, but he's one of the few characters with the defense capable of withstanding this. Many characters would struggle in this situation just like Sasuke did. Those are his best jutsus, but he has many in his arsenal that are difficult to deal with. He has Karin's healing ability, so he can heal through fatal wounds. He can use the hydrification technique like Suigetsu, so that makes him immune to almost all physical attacks. He has all of the Sound 5 abilities, most notably Taiyu's auditory genjutsu. This paralyzed Sasuke and Itachi, and they had to use visual genjutsu on each other in order to break out of it. This is another ability Kabuto has that few shinobi can counter. He can also use any jutsu Orochimaru has. Kabuto has several hack jutsus, and he has the strength and speed few people can match. He showed that he is far above an improved Kage Summit Sasuke, who would be a tough opponent for any of the 5 Kage, including Onuki. There are arguments for Onuki to be higher than Kabuto, but I think Kabuto's physical prowess gives him the edge here. They both have their trump cards, but Kabuto has a deeper arsenal and is more well-rounded than Onuki in my opinion. He also did a lot better against Sasuke than I imagine Onuki would. Next at number 8 I have Itachi. He defeated Sage Mode Kabuto without killing him, while Kabuto was free to go for kill moves. Even though Itachi was slightly weaker in Edo Tensei, Kabuto only killed him because he sacrificed himself to protect Sasuke from inorganic animation. Itachi also did a lot more work than Sasuke in that fight. If Itachi was by himself and was going for the kill, I could see him pulling it off. Anyway, Itachi does deserve most of the hype he gets. He could use his paralysis genjutsu on someone as strong as Orochimaru, and put early parts of Naruto under genjutsu several times with ease. Anyone you scale around Orochimaru could be paralyzed by Itachi with only his base Sharingan. He didn't even look Orochimaru in his eyes either. As for Tsukuyomi, he trapped Sasuke in it despite Sasuke having a base Sharingan and the knowledge not to look at Itachi in his eyes. Some people think that Sasuke broke out of this, but I don't see it that way. Itachi had taken one of his eyes in the genjutsu, and coincidentally Sasuke breaks out before the second one is taken. I think Itachi just let Sasuke break out of it because he had taken that genjutsu as far as he could. He even told Kakashi in part 1 that only a Mangekyo Sharingan could resist a Mangekyo Sharingan genjutsu. So Itachi can easily defeat many with his genjutsu, but Kabuto could resist it. Kabuto did take the precaution of putting a special covering over his eye though. The extent of his genjutsu is not clearly defined, but he still has plenty of other abilities for those that can resist it. Amaterasu can easily defeat any tailed beast like it did with the 8 tails. His Susanoo is his more impressive ability though. It blocked Kirin and very easily defeated Orochimaru's White Hydra transformation. The Susanoo's speed is also very impressive. His Totsuka blade pierced Orochimaru before he could even register it. It also cut off Nagato's arm before he could react by countering. And Itachi also did seal Nagato before he could register it as well. He did use a smoke screen, but it's still impressive nonetheless. Once the Totsuka blade pierces you, you can't activate any jutsu, so there's no way to escape it once it's got you. And its speed could get the better of Nagato when Itachi used his blind spots. Itachi's taijutsu and chakra reserves are also heavily downplayed. He did briefly fight KCM Naruto, and I see why people try to say Naruto was holding back here. Itachi was at the disadvantage of talking as well, and B tried to take his blind side during this exchange. We also see Itachi not get outmatched by Sage Mode Kabuto, and he had the ability to react to Kabuto better than Sasuke did. His chakra reserves are also not low. When he was fighting Sasuke, he was deathly sick, and he could still use Tsukuyomi once, Amaterasu twice, and he used his Susanoo for an extended period of time. When he was healthy as an Edo Tensei, he didn't have any issues with chakra in 2 separate fights. Overall, Itachi has many hack jutsu, and he has the speed to go along with it. He carried people like KCM Naruto, EMS Sasuke, and Killer Bee against people like Sage Mode Kabuto and Nagato. I've put him at 8, but if I had to give him a range, it could be as high as 6 on this list.
He countered me at my top speed.
Next at number 7 I have Minato. Minato and Itachi are two characters that I've always found to be extremely close in terms of power. I give Minato the slightest of edges due to Flying Raijin being so useful, and he has much better stamina. While we did see Itachi beat Nagato and Kabuto with some help, Minato managed to beat Obito and the Nine Tails with less help than Itachi. He had Heroes install Kurama for him, while he defeated Obito swiftly and easily. Minato says that Obito saw through all of his moves, but this is just him being modest. It only took a couple of exchanges for Minato to understand out Kamui, and then defeat Obito in one move immediately after. Kakashi, Guy, and Casey and Naruto struggled mightily with countering Kamui, until Kakashi found out that he shared Kamui with Obito. After Minato defeated Obito, he teleported the Nine Tails away from the village, and was about to erect a barrier to contain the Nine Tails before Kishina did. It's up to debate whether Minato could have stopped the Nine Tails and lived, but sealing Kurama and dying after defeating Obito is still very impressive. Another instance where he outclasses his opponent is his encounter with the Fourth Raikage. Minato very easily reacted to A's top speed, and then threatened to stab A before B stopped him with his own tail. This instance shows off Minato's speed, but also his raw power. When A fought Sasuke, he let him attack him with his blade amped with lightning style, and Sasuke's blade bounced right off of him. Sasuke's Chidori also barely drew blood from A. In this interaction, we see A worried about Minato's kunai stabbing him, and we even see that this kunai cut through the tail of the Eight Tails. Sasuke had to use Chidori's spear to do that, while Minato could do it with just a kunai. All of these feats are the reason why Obito's Hashirama cell's arm fell off after being hit with Minato's Rasengan. If it can defeat Obito, it can defeat many other characters on this list. Minato also has many ways to counter large-scale jutsus. Not only can he teleport away, but he can also teleport attacks as strong as a 10 Tails Bijou Bomb. There's almost no large-scale attack you can throw at Minato that he can't just teleport away. He can also summon Gamabutsu and briefly use Sage Mode as well. He also can use the Reaper Death Seal, which not even Kurama could resist. Overall, Minato's combination of speed, power, and the ability to teleport jutsus easily puts him in the 6 to 8 range on this list.
Shirodo.
Next at number 6 is Nagato. Naruto said that Nagato was stronger than the 6 passive pain, and his fight in Edo Tensei shows it. He almost killed Naruto and B at the same time, however some of this can be attributed to Kabuto. Nagato is not a smart character, and when Kabuto was controlling him, he was able to get the most out of him. For example, Kabuto used the Chameleon Summon to use Camouflage, and hold Naruto in place for Nagato. And then shortly after that, he caught B and was close to killing the both of them before Itachi showed up. There's still plenty of credit to give to Nagato though. He was able to take a hit from version 2B who tore Kisame's chest wide open. Kisame also used Samehada to take some of the blow, but Nagato took it on the chin and was okay. Durability isn't supposed to be his strength, yet he outshines one of the most durable characters in the series. There's too many 6 pass abilities to go over in this video, so I'll talk about his best ones. Someone as physically as strong as Casey and Naruto failed to resist Almighty Pull, and the Diva Path could Almighty push 3 large Toad Summons with ease. The Diva Path also destroyed the entire Leaf Village with a built-up Almighty Push. His best ability is Planetary Devastation though. It's not very easy to figure out, and even for those that can, it takes a lot of firepower to destroy. It was probably overkill, but it took the 8 Tails Bijou Bomb, a Rasen Shuriken, and Yasaka beads to destroy. I've talked about having deep arsenals, but Nagato's is the deepest so far. He can absorb jutsus, summon almost any animal, and can rip souls out of bodies. He's got the raw power in the arsenal, but his subpar intelligence holds him back. Basically, beating KCM Naruto and B at the same time holds enough to wait to put him at 6. As for his range, he could be as low as 8 though.
Am I perspiring? No. It's just the rain. These fools could never make me sweat.
Next to number 5 I have Obito. This is the version of Obito that had the Renegon before he became the Ten Tails host. What definitively puts him here is the 6 Jinchuriki he can control. Even when most of them were in version 2 states, he had Naruto in a position where he could capture him before Guy and Kakashi showed up. Version 2 is also just a fraction of a Tailed Beast power. When he had all of the Tailed Beasts fully transformed, it took Kurama carrying to save Naruto and his allies. The sheer firepower you have with controlling 6 Jinchuriki is unmatched by anyone below him on this list. Even if you want to say that if it was Kabuto's reanimations, you can still put Obito at number 5. He has the Rinnegan, but he never really used it, so I'm not going to count it for this video. He still has his Kamui, which only few people can hope to counter. Even if you do manage to counter Kamui, he can still use Izanagi and backstab you later like he did to Conan. Even someone as strong as Casey and Naruto couldn't do anything to him, and was constantly in danger of being captured during their fight. It took Kakashi having the same ability for Naruto to actually make progress against Obito. This is because his Kamui makes any firepower you have worthless, and most hacks don't even work against him. Even when they do, he can use Izanagi to erase all the progress you made in the first place. Obito has more firepower and better hacks than anyone below him on this list. There's no range for him, so he sits firmly at number 5. At this point in the video, it should be obvious who's next, so I'll do my honorable mentions now. I didn't include Guy with 8 gates because that's another instance of a character becoming too strong. He did defeat Kisame with 7 gates, but he's still a very one-dimensional fighter. Speaking of Kisame, he's also very close. He defeated B with ease, and his ability to absorb chakra and jutsus is something that really makes his potential explode. I don't think he quite has enough to make it into the top 10 though. Tobirama is another character that's close. Some people hype him up by misunderstanding some of his feats, so I'm sure there will be some mad Tobirama fans in the comments. He doesn't have a lot of firepower, and he doesn't spam Flying Raijin like Minato. His Madara feat is nice, but that doesn't put him on par with Madara. In fact, Madara defeated him rather easily. The 3rd and 4th Raikage are also worth honorable mentions. They've got incredible speed and physical strength, but that's all there is to them. If an opponent can beat them in those areas, then they're done for. Finally, Hiruzen is someone I have a hard time pinning down. I know that Kabuto said that he was the strongest of the 5 Kage, but that was in part 1. This was years before the other Kage were even designed. I consider that a retcon, just like Hiruzen possibly being stronger than Hashirama was retconned. And don't tell me that Hiruzen's worth a goddess shinobi status like Hashirama, because that's just false. He was able to push Kurama out of the village, but once Kurama fired up a tailed beast swarm, he had no solution. In fact, Minato had to save him in that situation. It's possible that young Hiruzen could be at the bottom of this list, but I can't really say that with confidence. Anyway, let's return back to the actual list. Next at number 4 I have EMS Sasuke, and at number 3 I have KCM Naruto. There's a chance these two are a tie, but there is some evidence that Sasuke is lacking here. When they fought Jubuto, he was using Naruto's chakra cloak, and Jugo's curse mark for his Susanoo. The curse mark is supposed to make you 10 times as strong, but he never had an instance where he looked better than Naruto. I doubt that 10 times principle applies here, but it still makes Sasuke look weaker than Naruto. That's really the only evidence that there's a difference between these two, but I think it's enough. The reason why they're over Obito is that they did take on Jubuto and eventually matched his speed. Jubuto's speed is far faster than Rinnegan Obito, so it shows that these two are a tier above him. Naruto's Kurama avatar also beat Obito's Jinchuriki, so I would expect the same from Sasuke's perfect Susanoo. These two have more raw power than everyone else below them, but they don't have as many hacks. Naruto especially is a character that is mainly just reliant on overpowering his opponent. Sasuke may be a little weaker than Naruto, but he has things like Amaterasu and Genjutsu, strong enough to control a tailed beast. These two could be a tie, but Sasuke never really showed he was better than Naruto. They sit comfortably at number 3 and number 4.
Wood Golem Jutsu!
Next at number 2 I have Final Valley Madara, and at number 1 I have Final Valley Hashirama. Of course, Hashirama is number 1 because he defeated Madara. These two are actually a lot stronger than Naruto and Sasuke than some people realize. Naruto only has half the Nine Tails, while Madara had the full Nine Tails wrapped in a perfect Susanoo. And then Hashirama had the power to defeat the Nine Tails with a perfect Susanoo. People debate over things like Nagato versus the 5 Kage, but Madara and Hashirama could beat them with their eyes closed. Once Madara pulled out his perfect Susanoo, that was the end for them. These two don't have a lot of hacks, but the raw power is so much that it doesn't matter. Hashirama does have his poisonous pollen, and Madara's got things like Uchiha Reflection and his Genjutsu. There's really not much I need to say about these two except that they are a league above KCM Naruto and EMS Sasuke. In fact, Hashirama's deity gates were strong enough to hold down the Ten Tails. Anyway, that wraps up my list, but if you want to see where I put all 6 Paths and Ten Tails characters, go to my ranking the Uchiha no Kage video. Start the video at 1747 and put Kaguya at number 1. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more videos in the future. Comment something if you have something to say. And thank y'all for watching. I guess I'll see y'all next time.